So thank you for joining us for another BBFA support session. This one very much looking ahead at the start of the 2021 season and affiliation. Although we do not know the date and when we may be in a position to kick a ball in anger again and for league competitions to start up. We have obviously opened our affiliation portal and affiliation window for next season. And as such, wanted to run this session tonight just to look at the affiliation requirements and changes for the 2021 season and do a bit of a practical demonstration just around what that affiliation process looks like. The session is being recorded so that it will go up on our website and can be accessed by anybody that's not able to join us this evening. But if you want to raise a question at any stage, please feel free to either put it in the chat, use the raised hand function, or as I think there's not too many of us on the call this evening, you're welcome to just unmute yourself, to be honest, and raise a question. So over the course of the next half hour or so, what I want to look through is just updates around the dates, deadlines, fees and requirements for affiliation, changes to some of the procedures and regulations for the new season, quick update around the county cups, which is, to be honest, there's not too much of an update. As I said, we'll do a practical demonstration, jump onto the whole game system just so you can see what the different stages are and the different information is that will need to be put in. And then I'll quickly just touch on player registrations and where we are. The affiliation is crucial just before I get started for us as a county FA. Obviously, every team has to be affiliated in order to be allowed to play sanctioned football under the remit of the FA. So certainly there's a bit of a stick. You have to do it because in order to be able to take part in our competitions. But certainly over the last few years, the level of data has probably increased considerably that we ask from clubs compared to even going back 3, 4, 5 years ago. Certainly that data is more and more important for us because it allows us to get greater understanding about the football that's taking part in the county, the use of facilities and different venues and so forth. But then also around giving us an annual check and challenge around the participation information and crucially around safeguarding. So although I appreciate it is a little bit of a chore perhaps, particularly for the larger clubs having to go through each year and check each teams that they're allocated to the right league and that the correct coach is showing up, it means that we're satisfied that the people involved, particularly running youth teams and coaching young players, is accurate, and we know that the correct safeguards are in place for that. So that's kind of the why we do what we do. So just to kind of recap the main information then around affiliation, the dates and deadlines, as you're hopefully aware, club affiliation opened on the 1st of July. And our league sanction, if we do have any leagues on the call this evening, will still be opened on the 1st of August. This gives us a month to try and get the bulk of the teams registered, or at least in the system, so that when the league sanction opens, that process runs a lot smoother.
Yes, hi Alistair, it's Kevin Bennett, Chiltern Church Junior League. So
hi, Kev.
I've joined out of interest of league sanction.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I'll make sure I kind of keep referring back to the league sanction process as well then, and just how that will get impacted. That's not a problem at all. We will probably, when that league sanction window does open, I'll run a similar session to this, probably just for leagues, just to kind of do that practical demonstration and support you through that sanction process. Okay. Perfect. This season, considering the uncertainty around how and when the 2021 season is actually going to get up and running in full effect, there is no formal affiliation deadline as we've had in previous seasons. However, the fact remains that every team must be affiliated before it can play. And if a club plays an unaffiliated team in a competitive fixture, both the competition and the club could be liable for charges under FA regulations for fielding an unaffiliated side. So the basic requirements in order for a club to affiliate. So every club as a parent organisation must have public liability insurance with coverage for at least £10 million for any one claim. And they must have personal accident insurance for every single team. So every team must be covered within the club. I'm going to come on to personal accident in a lot more detail in a little while. But in terms of the public liability insurance, there is the option to purchase that through the county FA as part of a group policy. That is what probably 99% of our clubs do on an annual basis, particularly the grassroots ones at below step 5. If you purchase that one through the county, you know that it meets all the FA requirements. So I'll come on to how you can do that and what's involved in that a bit later on. Obviously, any youth clubs must then also meet any and all safeguarding requirements. And there's a standard clause that every club has to have cleared any outstanding debts to the county FA from the previous season. So that will still include disciplinary fines from the 2019-20 season. And we contacted every club that still had amounts outstanding a couple of weeks ago. And I think those have pretty much all been cleared now. So if you didn't receive an email from me, you're probably in the clear. Affiliation fees for next season. Now, again, this is based very much around the disruptions last season and the uncertainty going forward. So we are pleased that for first time ever, effectively, we are able to confirm that next season's club fees, team fees, and that club public liability insurance I just mentioned will be free of charge for the 2021 season. We've got some support and some funding from Sport England that has allowed us to do that, and it's done just to try and ensure that actually clubs are able to return, that they're not going to get penalised financially by everything that has happened over the last 6 months or so. So club fees, team fees, and your public liability insurance will be free of charge. That means the only thing you'll have to pay to the county FA to take part in football next season will be public personal accident insurance, sorry, if you are taking out that personal accident insurance through us, and county cup fees if and when they run. The league sanction fees will still apply as they have done in previous season. Unfortunately, the grant we got only went so far, and where we had to draw the line, we decided that trying to get the clubs back and the players back, provided we get the players back, then everything else around the football ecosystem can resume and can return. So although I appreciate that means that we are still charging leagues for their sanction for next season, hopefully that will still have been budgeted for leagues and is a relatively low amount for £60 for the season. So I've mentioned about personal accident insurance, and there's some changes to the way that personal accident insurance can be purchased and approved this season. So this is where we need to go into a little bit more detail around it. And it's something that certainly with those clubs that have affiliated early has tripped up a couple of them. So about 6 months or so ago, a decision was taken by our Berks and Bucks FA Council, new governor, who kind of govern football locally, that insurance coverage needed to be increased to make sure that includes coverage for broken bones, dislocations, and ligament damage. Obviously, as you might imagine, those are the most common form of injury that we will see in grassroots football. Now, what this means is it equates to intermediate coverage for adult teams and superior gold coverage for youth teams under the Bluefin Sports National Game Insurance Scheme, which again, 90% of our teams are covered by. Before this, you could get away with having the basic coverage for adults and I think the basic coverage for youth, but that didn't cover those most common types of injuries. As such, with the council making this decision, we've been working with Bluefin over the last few months to create a group package that means that those higher level insurance is still being provided at a competitive price and is easily accessible for clubs. So going forward, personal accident insurance can now be purchased through the affiliation portal in the whole game system. That will be for intermediate adult coverage and superior gold coverage for youth teams. Now, because those policies are naturally a slightly higher rate because they cover more injuries, we've agreed that we will subsidise the difference in price for the 2021 season. So the prices you should be able to see on the screen. Intermediate coverage for an adult team should be £40, but you'll be able to purchase it for £30, which is the cost of the basic coverage in previous seasons. Similarly, small-sided and walking football teams will be £18 rather than 24. Under 13 and above, 20 instead of 25, and under 12s and below, £15 instead of 19. So you know that going forward this season, you can get a high level of coverage, but at the same rate that you've been paying in previous seasons. Now, if you do wish to go forward and upgrade your insurance to a higher level again, so that is the Superior 120 or above for adults, or the Superior Platinum coverage for youth, unfortunately, you must do that separately through the Bluefin portal, and you must have purchased that minimum level through the affiliation first. Effectively, what you do is you buy the your base rate through us, and then you can top that up separately through Bluefin and pay, and you're just paying the difference then for that higher rate. But you, in order to get that high rate, you must have purchased that base one through the affiliation process. Just so you're aware, the Superior 120 plus for adults, effectively what that starts doing is bringing in coverage for loss of earnings. The 120, I think, refers to £120 per week in lost earnings, and then there's different levels depending on what rate you want to purchase it at. And the Superior Platinum coverage for youth, again, I think provides coverage for parental lost earnings or parental further physio care and so forth to help with youth injuries. You can still purchase from an alternative provider, SportsGuard or equivalent company. However, it must then provide an equivalent level of coverage or higher. So it must still include that coverage for broken bones, ligament damage or dislocations. I'm just going to jump into the chat quickly just to see if there's a question there. A question that's come through from Gary, just whether that is per team, and that's correct, yes. So those rates that I showed earlier, the see if I can go back to it quickly, £30 and so forth. There we go, 30, 18, 20 and 15, that is per team. And I'll come on, when I come on to the live demonstration, show you how you kind of declare how many teams you're entering in each of those categories to make sure you're paying the right amount. Oh, just want to run through the safeguarding requirements again. This is obviously a critical part for us, making sure that we know that the correct safeguards are in place to protect young players. And although this isn't necessarily anything new, it is worth repeating each year just to make sure that you have the full information available to you. So any individual coaching under 18s must hold an FA approved DBS check, which has been issued within the past 3 years. And if the coach does not have that, the club will not be able to affiliate, and the coach must not be allowed to carry out their role unsupervised until that DBS is issued. Now, if you are non-compliant with that, so if you do have a coach who doesn't have the full qualifications, or their qualifications expired during the season, then you may actually face that team's affiliation being suspended until the coach is either replaced or the DBS is issued. Coming in from the 21-22 season, this will also apply to coaches of adult teams who have under 18 players playing. So what we're going to do over the course of this season is, once we have the player registration data in and we're able to identify which adult teams have under 18s in their squads, we will contact those clubs and individuals directly and help them through that DBS process. And I believe we're actually beginning to make contact with some of them based on last season's data as well. Looking across the club then, key youth officials must hold, key youth club officials, sorry, must hold a current safeguarding for committee members qualification. So that is the chair, the secretary and the treasurer. And the club welfare officers must hold an in-date DBS, a safeguarding children's workshop, the welfare officers workshop, and also have completed the safeguarding for committee members. That safeguarding for committee members is an online course. It's about 40 minutes and just looks at kind of your role as a committee member running a club and how your decisions at the committee level may impact the well-being and the enjoyment of young players. It's a really useful course. Has to be completed once every 4 years, I believe. So those who completed it in the first wave about 3 years ago will still be valid. Now, you may be aware that when we first went into lockdown, DBS applications and DBS verifications were suspended, and clubs were asked not to submit any new applications. That has now been reversed, and we're able to resubmit applications and start completing verifications again. We've done some training with club welfare officers over the last couple of weeks around that, and in constant dialogue with them around kind of what steps to take to mitigate any risk of viral transmission and so forth. So I won't go into detail in it now, but if you do have questions around that, first point of contact would probably be to get in touch with your club welfare officer, but if not, come through to us at the county and we can support you through that process. The other change that was made at the start of lockdown was that the FA agreed to extend the DBS for any coach which expired between 1st of March and 1st of October this year. That they would extend it by 12 months. That still remains in place. So any coach with one of those is deemed to be qualified. Their DBS has been extended for 12 months and you don't need to submit at this time. So to recap, effectively, coaches whose DBS expired before the 1st of March and who did not submit a DBS application will need to reapply as soon as possible. Any new volunteers coming into a club will also need to submit a DBS application as soon as possible to make sure it's in place and doesn't hold up the affiliation. And as I mentioned earlier, if a coach does not have an in-date DBS check, the club will need to apply as soon as possible and will not be able to affiliate until that is in place. And the coach must not be allowed to carry out their role until that DBS is issued. Right, I'm going to just jump back into the chat quickly just to see if anything's come up whilst I was covering safeguarding. When are the courses running? When do we sign up? So the current status is that all of our education courses are still on hold until further notice. If that does get extended considerably, we are working with the FA to identify alternative routes that will allow clubs to be affiliated. And generally what happens is, provided a welfare officer or a potential new welfare officer has at least the DBS and has completed the online safeguarding for committee members, we will be able to affiliate the club under what we call a county action plan. Now, basically, that is a commitment from the club and the county that that individual will achieve those qualifications by the agreed date. If that is then missed, so they don't complete those qualifications in time and it's not extended, then that club's affiliation will be temporarily revoked until a qualified individual is in post. At the moment, all of the education courses are in person, but I know the FA are looking at how they can do online delivery of these courses. So again, as and when we get more information on that, we will send updates through to clubs across the whole spectrum of the FA education programme. Safeguarding for committee members, yes, is an online course. That's the only one at the moment which is done as online. And if you've already completed a face-to-face safeguarding children's workshop, you can renew that online every 3 years. Just touch on county cups quickly. As I said earlier, the update is that there is no real update. So our intention remains to run the county cups as normal in the 2021 season. However, this is reliant on competition starting no later than the 1st of November 2020. If we can't start them by that date, we don't think it's going to be feasible to run them without it having a serious negative impact on league competitions. We're very conscious as well that there's still a large chance or a large probability that there could be second waves of lockdown or localized lockdown, as we're seeing in Leicester at the moment. So again, trying to put the county cups in as well in what would already be a truncated season just makes it more likely that league seasons and general competitions won't be able to complete. So what we will do is, pardon me, as soon as a decision's made on that, we'll announce it to clubs, and provided they do go ahead, we will run a separate entry process nearer the time. So during the affiliation process, by all means, please enter which cups you intend to go into. We won't be invoicing you at this stage, and we won't be approving those entries. And what will happen is, if the cups do run, we'll get in touch with every club, confirm which entries you'd already declared, and ask you to confirm if you still want to enter those cups, and ask if there's any additional cups you want to enter. So we'll just pick it up manually at a later time. Right, I'm going to do a practical demonstration now. I'm going to jump onto the whole game system and hopefully be able to show you what the affiliation process looks like in reality. So just bear with me for 1 second. I need to have that up, don't I? Right, so just take a quick drink as well. Hopefully you can all now see the whole game system up on the screen. This is just on that main landing dashboard as soon as you log in for the first time. So for those of you who aren't overly familiar with it, across the top here you will see all the different clubs or leagues that you are an official for, and you just click on the one that you want to go in and work on. So in this case, I'm going to re-affiliate the Berks and Bucks office as our demonstration club. So you click on the tab, and in a couple of seconds, hopefully, we'll take us through to that main club dashboard. Now, if you scroll down the page on the left-hand side here, sorry, when my computer decides to start running again. There we go. You will see down towards the bottom here on the left-hand side, the tab for Affiliation 2021. And there'll be a yellow banner which will either say not started or in progress, or will basically give you the latest status of it. There are 8 steps to an affiliation application, so I'm going to run through them relatively quickly, but hopefully it's nothing too new or too confusing. It's a very intuitive process throughout this whole system. So step 1 of the affiliation is just asking you to confirm the key club details. You won't be able to edit all of this, but some of it, if you need to update the main address and contact details of the club, you just click on the edit button up in the top right-hand corner. What you will not be able to edit at this stage, however, is the club name. That is something which the county FA, only the county FA can update. So if for whatever reason your club name is changing, please just contact us here at the county, let us know the proposed new club name. We'll make sure that that doesn't contravene any of our guidances or isn't the name of an existing club, and process that for you. Thankfully, updates immediately, so it's a very quick process for us. If you do want to add information around the club which appears in the FA's Play Football search engine, you just put it in there and it gives you some prompts about what kind of information you might want to include. Just hit save to go back. It will ask you every time, every season you do this, it'll ask you to confirm that the details are valid and correct and that you agree to the FA terms and conditions. You can update sponsors if you want to, and so forth. And then to click through to the next stage, just click save and continue. Step 2 then looks at the key club officials. So these are club level volunteers, and particularly those 4 key roles we identified earlier of secretary, chair, treasurer, and welfare officer. It will always pull through the data from the previous season. So this is our 2019-20 season, me taking control of the entire club. If you want to change that, and you've got a volunteer that's already listed or already has a role within the club, you can just click on that in this box here and type in their name, and they should come up. So in this case, you can see that Liz Verrill, our chief exec, comes up, and as soon as you click on her name, it automatically updates that she will be down as the club chairman for the next season. If you want to add a new official for the first time, someone that's just joined the club, up at the top here, click on the blue Add Official button, and it'll give you the opportunity to search for them. If you know the individual's fan, that's fantastic. If not, you can search by key personal details. So on this one, I am going to add our safeguarding manager as our club welfare officer. So put in her details and search, and she comes up. Check the box by the name, confirm the club, and confirm the role that you want to install them into. And again, up at the top here, there's just a prompt reminding you that of the qualifications for those individuals for youth clubs. Once everything is correct, and we'll ask you to just put, so the FA can analyse the numbers of volunteers in grassroots football. It'll ask you to just confirm number of volunteers within the club, and then again save and continue to get to the next step, which is just confirming your club grounds. Now, there's a lot of grounds already in the FA's database, so the first point of call would always be to search the existing database. So I am going to just look for the North Court, which is Abingdon United's grounds, local to myself here in Abingdon. Search the data, or search the system, and then it will add automatically and confirm whether that is your main playing ground or training ground. If you search and the ground you're looking for does not show up, you can add it as a new one by clicking the plus button. However, really encourage you to search first. Reason for that is there's a lot of duplicates on the system already, but what this data allows us to do is identify for local councils exactly how many clubs and teams are playing at different venues across the county. So provided all of that information feeds into the same records, it gives us a really great picture about what the state of play is like in different facilities. Step 4 of the process is going to be the one that will give you the most amount of work, and this is where you go through and confirm all of your team details for the new season. If you've got a team which, sorry, let me back up. The form will automatically be populated with those teams that completed the 2019-20 season. It pulls through that information, and if you click on the drop down, it will tell you the league that they're in, again, any training or main grounds that they're associated with, who the manager or coach is, and all that team detail. If all of that is correct, then you don't need to worry about editing anything. If not, you can edit the team very easily by clicking on the button up here. If, however, the team's not returning for any reason, just click on the team folding button and give the reason why the team's folded and mark it as having folded. If you do want to go in and edit, I'm just going to edit our demonstration team. Click on the edit button. It will give you the opportunity to change the team suffix and the team's category. So just change that. We're a mixed team, open age, non-disability, plays on a Sunday. You can add kit information and manager information. So again, hopefully, all being well, if I start searching for myself, I'll come up and I can add myself as the manager there. We would ask that every time you do create a team that you do put their main grounds in. Reason for that is, again, it helps us with that information of who's playing where. You then have the opportunity to add them to county cups or other competitions if you need to, and confirm which league they're going to be taking part in. Once all that's correct, just click on Save Team, and that will automatically be updated. If you then want to add a new team, the button's available down at the bottom, and it's just a case of adding all that information in for the very first time. Once all that information is correct, it will ask you, the system will ask you to confirm that yes, you have reviewed the county cups and then all the league entries for each team. Check those boxes and again, save and continue. Step 5 is where if you have purchased insurance externally, you can upload those certificates here to give us the information. And again, it's just a case of browsing on the computer and uploading the relevant file. If you do wish to purchase your insurance through the county FA, just check the 2 boxes here. Yes, I wish to purchase personal accident, and yes, I wish to purchase public liability. You're welcome and encouraged to provide us with a copy of your balance sheet and profit and loss to help us just review the state of finances in grassroots football, and I help try and identify clubs that may be at risk. However, that's not mandatory, so it's entirely up to you whether you wish to upload that. Step 6 is where you can now purchase those insurance products. So for public liability, you have 2 options. You only need to pick one of these. The basic public liability insurance is this top product here, which is free of charge. However, you have the option if you wish to purchase an upgraded coverage, which provides legal liability coverage for player-to-player costs and claims up to £10 million. So again, it just gives you a little bit more protection should a claim be made against one of your players for an injury that they may have they're alleged to have caused, or someone's claiming that they caused to another individual. So in this one, I'm just going to increase our free public liability insurance here. You just have to add one because you only need one per club. Further down here is where you can declare how many teams you have in each category that you wish to purchase personal accident insurance for. So on this one, I have my adult demonstration team, so I'm going to put one in there. However, if you were purchasing, if you were affiliating, 6 under 12 and below teams and 4 under 13 and above, you just put the relevant number in for the number of teams that you are affiliating, and it will add that to the invoice. So once that is correct, save and continue, and step 7 is then just a confirmation summary page. It's effectively like your checkout basket if you're purchasing something through Amazon. So it'll give you a recap of what teams you're affiliating and what insurance products you're purchasing and any fees involved. It will give you a recap of your key club officers, recap of which teams you're entering and their managers, which teams you've folded this season, and if you've uploaded any documents. At this stage, all you need to do now is submit for approval. This then will finalise the application and submit it through to us for review at the County FA. You'll see here that step 8 is just a summary of the charges. However, no invoice has been raised at this time. Once we have done that manual review and gone through and made sure effectively that the number of teams you're looking to insure match the number of teams that are actually going to be playing, that you meet the safeguarding requirements, and that you haven't got any suspended officials or debts to the County FA, we'll go through and approve that and notify you and let you know that an invoice has been raised for the personal accident insurance. If you are a team that plays further up the step system and you have your own insurance, or you do choose to purchase it from a third party and upload those documents, you'll go straight through. We had a couple of clubs that I was looking at yesterday that provided all their own insurance, met all the safeguarding requirements, everything matched and looked fantastic. And to be honest, they, within 5 minutes of the application being submitted, because I picked it up quickly, they'd received their affiliation number for next season and had completed the process. So if you do it right, and if you have all that information in advance, it is a very quick and easy process. You'll also notice now that the application status in the corner has changed to pending. That basically means it's been submitted through to us here at the county to review. That will change to invoiced and then approved as and when it moves through the channel here. What I would say just around the the review process at the moment is that, as you may be aware, we still have a large proportion of our workforce currently on furloughed leave, so that we're still running at a reduced staff capacity in the office. So some of those applications may take a little longer than usual to get reviewed, but we are working through them as quickly as we can. As I said earlier, I wanted to just quickly touch on player registrations and provide a quick update on those. The registrations and all team memberships, actually including coaches, for the 2019-20 season expired on 31st of May. What that means is that players will no longer be assigned to a team within your club. They will still be attached to the club and remain in membership with you. However, once you've done the affiliation process and once the leagues open their registration windows, you will have to go and reassign the players to their 2021 season teams and resubmit the registrations through to the league. And those registration dates are set by the leagues. It's not something that's centrally set by the County FA. So you have to check with each league when you'll be able to start that process. I just wanted to flag this one as well, whilst I have you here, which is that from the 21-22 season onwards, it will be mandatory for all players to be registered via the whole game system, regardless of which league they're in, and that they will all have to have a unique email address. For under 16s, that means that they'll have to be linked to a parent who has a unique email address, but that parent can be linked to multiple children. I just wanted to point your way as well around additional resources we have here at the County FA to help you through the affiliation process. On our website, if you go to the Leagues and Clubs tab across the top, Club Management and Affiliation, we've completely revamped our affiliation page this season to try and give you as much information as possible and handy links to our partners to help you out with insurance and emergency aid equipment. What I should say, actually, in previous seasons, you were able to purchase first aid equipment through the affiliation process. We've taken that out of the affiliation portal now because we're able to offer an expanded range of products, and we didn't want that final page to be, a list of 30 odd products you have to pick through. What this means is if you click on the link to Cool Pack from our website, you'll be able to order directly through them, but at reduced rates that we've negotiated with them. You'll also then receive that equipment pretty much within 2 or 3 working days normally. There's also a link on there to Bluefin and the National Game Insurance Scheme, so that if you do want to upgrade to one of those higher levels of insurance I mentioned earlier, you can do so there. We've also got an affiliation guide which was sent to all clubs about a month ago now, and that really recaps everything we've talked about this evening, gives you all the information around affiliation fees, insurance requirements and procedures and safeguarding and so forth. And then finally, our safeguarding and welfare page, again, just gives you more information around safeguarding procedures and links to verification sessions, which will be up and running in the next couple of weeks from the County FA. Oh, finally, I wanted to highlight around if you want to make any changes to your affiliation application once it's been submitted to us. As soon as you submit it to the County FA, it becomes locked, so you're not able to go back in and access one of those previous steps to update the information. What that means is that if you are looking to create a new team, for example, or change the coach that's allocated to one of the teams, we have to do that on your behalf. And what we've done is we've created a couple of online forms to make that process quick and easy. So it asks you to complete all the information we need, submit that to us, comes through to our central mailbox here at the County FA, and we're able to then go through and action that as quickly as we possibly can. And again, those turned around normally the same day at the moment, so it's a very quick process and should be able to resolve any issues you have around that very easily. The links to that again are on the affiliation page on our website. They're also in that affiliation guide and in a couple of emails I've sent out to clubs just around that affiliation process. However, if you do need them for whatever reason, just get in touch with us and we can send that off to you, no problem. Again, just wanted to highlight, we run these what we call BBFA support sessions on a regular basis across the season, and there are links to them on our website covering all manner of topics around managing a club in grassroots football or trying to understand the complicated world of FA regulations, whether that is disciplinary procedures, volunteer or player recruitment and retention, how to manage internal complaints, how to wade through the misconduct process if you're asked to provide information or if you do receive a misconduct charge. So I'd really recommend you take a look at those. We will be rerunning them throughout August and September, I believe, to gear up for the new season. Some more information on those will come out in due course as well. So that is it in terms of the presentation and the run through. I'm going to jump back into the chat channel, but it looks like there aren't any more questions. If anybody does have a question they want to ask, you're welcome to unmute yourself, raise a hand, pop it in the chat. If not, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and good luck with the affiliation process. If you have any questions, please contact us and we will do what we can to help.